name is Blair Sinta. All right, this week we have Nicky Hustinx. I'm totally butchering his name, no doubt. I met Nicky online through Instagram. I just found that he was doing super cool stuff, making amazing drum sounds. Turns out he's using a lot of Ableton, and he's doing it in the studio and he's doing it live. So he's got a lot of pretty cool information of how he's doing this live. He tours and records with the band Fink, which I've been a fan of for a long time. And admittedly, I didn't know there was a change at some point in there, but that comes out right away. But regardless, he's doing super cool stuff. So yeah, this is a great listen. He's a super cool guy. My big announcement this week is that I've decided on a date for my next live 6-week drum recording expert class. It's going to start on Tuesday, April 19th. Last time it was offered on a Friday. This time I'm going to do it on a Tuesday, thinking that this might be a better day for drummers in general, especially some people on the other side of the ocean, not having it be on a Friday night. Okay, so April 19th, 6 weeks to becoming a recording expert is going to start. Okay, 2 hours of class time each week for 6 weeks, taking you from drums through miking, EQ, compression, business side of things. We go pretty deep. So first class finished a few weeks ago. I'm going to get it up and running again. Details are available on my website. All right, without delay, except me speaking, let's go listen to my chat with Nicky. All right, take care, everybody.
Well, that's a good question actually, because it probably is not me. I'm guessing, because
really?
if it's one of the older records, I have played on the last 2 records, and there Tim Thornton is his name, and that's like Fink is originally a trio.
Okay.
And like their first, I'd say 4 or 5 albums, that's just the trio basically. And then the last couple of records, they ventured out and got some guest musicians in.
All right. Hard Believer.
Hard Believer, yeah, that's the one I'm not on. So that all the kudos go to Tim.
You know what? It doesn't matter because I found you.
Dude, all good.
Yeah.
I'm still very much in love with those songs, and also the way Tim played on those. It's always amazing to work with with an artist or a band that you really like, whose music you really admire.
Yeah.
Even the better.
So with the things that you're doing at home, and the reason, I mean, we found each other through Instagram, right? And like,
yeah.
You stood out to me because, first of all, I like your aesthetic a lot, like your tone choices, your playing, obviously. I saw that you played with Fink, and are you able to bring a lot of like what you seem to do at home and creatively into that situation in particular?
Yeah, well, very much so. I've been kind of lucky, I guess, in the respect that most people I play with, they kind of let me do my thing. So for instance, with Fink, like the thing is, I started playing with Finn, the lead singer, in a different project. And then I did a tour with him, and then he was like, dude, you want to join us on our big tour, and be the second drummer? Because Fink, like I told you, it's a trio. Okay. It's bass drums and Finn on vocals and guitar, and then we had another guitarist and the second drummer, and that would actually imply or mean that I would play certain songs, Tim would do certain songs. A couple of songs we arranged for 2 drums.
Okay.
And also I did some electronics. It's a thing I quite like doing also live.
Okay.
And in that respect, they were just like, whatever idea you have, let's just see how it goes. And what I like doing live with electronics, for instance, is to kind of take some risk. So I'd rather, if it's possible, and if it's if the context is right, not like a big pop artist or whatever, I'd rather make a loop live either with a mic on a drum or some electronics that I have loaded up previously.
Okay.
I'd rather make a loop than just play back an entire track.
Yes.
And Finn heard me do it and he was like, fuck it, I love it, dude. Just go ahead. So I would just, for one particular track, I would like every night construct this beat live and just, tinker with it.
Okay.
With my MIDI controller. So that's an Ableton. Yeah. So
cool.
That's like an example of having complete freedom. And for the rest of the tracks, me and Tim kind of worked out, what needed to be played together, which was like a really, I mean, to be honest, he's probably one of the most like selfless drummers I've ever met, because with Fink in particular, that's like his band and he is the drummer.
Right.
And then there's this other dude from the Netherlands who is going to join the tour for like 3 fucking months. I was like, hi. Even in the studio, I drove to London to join him for a couple of days to just track some songs. And he was so welcoming and so, so lovely. It was really, amazing to be able to join those guys.
Wow, that's like being very comfortable with your, with your ego. That's amazing.
Yeah, but that would go for all the guys in the band. They're just amazing. Like they're pretty selfless and very still, I mean, I still laugh at this thing where, like even Finn, he was literally loading up after the show until like the last tour. He would like put on gloves and like, okay, let's get this fucking trailer loaded. When our tour manager was like, dude, we have like 55 shows to go. Maybe you should just lay off on this and just chill in the bus right now.
Yeah, because if you smash a finger, we're done.
he almost smashed a toe when the sort of loading thing came down almost on it, and he was like, "Yeah, this might not be the smartest idea. You just be the singer, dude."
Tell me about your process of getting into looping with Ableton and for how you do it, and how you got into it and things like that.
The thing is, I've always had this idea of that I should be able to sort of in a relaxed way record whatever you do, be it on a stage or in a studio, just an acoustic source, and then just fuck it up with cool glitchy sounding, I don't know, like Aphex Twin like sounds. And then I don't know, like 6-7 years ago, I joined this band and it was just all electronics. And for me, it was like, I was like, okay, now I have to find out how to actually utilize all this software. And I just bought some things and just plugged the mic into an interface.
Yep.
And you learn about latency, you learn about all these things that really influence your playing. Mm-hmm. And then, I basically just started screwing around with like delays and reverbs, like add a button that reverses the sample. See which like granular delays work best on on a clip you just recorded, and just fool around with it live. And that's the thing mainly, I think, with the whole Ableton thing, is that if you just need to dive into it and take risks and take the risks live on stage. And the more you do it, it's like, with any, I really view it as an instrument. Like with any instrument, you get used to it, and you get used to the fact that it responds in a certain way. And also that okay, this particular chain of devices always works. It never lets me down.
Yep.
And if you get comfortable with that, then you can basically, do whatever. I still do, like, if there's a part on a record, say, where the couple of mics are filtered, like band passed for like 8 bars, you can actually program that and have it band passed. Or have like rhythmical delays in the song that you can trigger with a pad and turn on and off, and even verbs on a snare, like one big verb or whatever.
Okay.
If you get comfortable using that, you can just do it, and I do, and it's fucking amazing.
So
because it's
okay, we're gonna go deep fast. I love this.
Sorry for that.
No, this is great. This is great because like right now my brain is spinning. Like,
good.
Here's the thing. I love having like analog pedals because I love the textural part of it. I always forget the word, the tactile part of having knobs and things like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like what you're saying to me is your MIDI controller you've set up so you have those options.
Exactly that. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, otherwise it wouldn't be, it's just into the, binary void. It's like, you need to have, you need to have stuff to press. You need to have pads to hit.
Yep.
Always.
So
yeah.
what is your MIDI controller that you like?
Or
mainly okay.
Well, yeah, there's a couple. Yeah, I use a Launchpad basically because it's very simple and it has a shitload of buttons.
Yep.
So you can either, that's
yeah.
The thing is that you always have like, with most or a couple of bands I play with, we work with backing tracks or electronics. So I need to have a button for each song we play, like a preset button.
Okay.
So say there's like 16 buttons you need to have, and then there's some buttons for effects on and off, and maybe for like sometimes there's a song with a count in, sometimes there's a song that starts like right on the first beat. But by far my favorite MIDI controller, and this has become a running gag in Weval, one of the bands I play with, I've been playing with for a long time, it's a thing called a MIDI Fighter Twister, and it's like a 16 button rotary encoder thing.
Okay.
And that's just you can buy it and you won't have any regrets. It's just an amazing thing. It's also, you can push it, you can turn it, you can add your own colors to it, like LED colors.
Do you have one sitting near you?
Yeah, well, I can take it off my board. Wait.
Okay.
Let's see. So it's this thing.
Oh, yes. Oh, look at that.
I can't wait to show the guys in the band that I'm actually they're gonna love this.
Why do they think it's janky as shit or something? Or like...
No. The thing is, like, here it's with all the colors. The thing is, it's a genuinely fantastic device. But the only thing is that we, like in Weval, like everyone has one.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And that's like a particular band where it's very much like it's electronic music, so there needs to be a lot of flexibility.
Yep.
But this thing is just it's the shit. But we've said it so many times, it's become a running gag. But I can advise anyone getting dabbling in music production, get one of these.
Okay. Wow.
Anyway.
So do you have couple questions to going down this rabbit hole. One, you obviously have to work with your monitor guy and or front of house guy with this.
Yeah.
Tell me how that works. They're going to run the like in a live situation, they're going to run their mics to you first.
Yeah.
And then out to them. So you're going to have a certain amount of control.
Yeah.
They're kind of giving up.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. That's the thing. You need to have you need to have a good social understanding with your front of house person. Mm-hmm. You need to gain their trust.
Yep.
The thing is, if you trust your system and you know how it works, then you can really get away with a lot of things.
Sure.
So if you have like a couple of production days before a tour, you can just try stuff out. So yeah, and that control is a thing they give over to you basically. But to be honest, like for instance, there's this one song in a set which on the record has a very distorted overhead sound.
Okay.
And I was like in rehearsal, I was like, so let's just put a devil lock on the mono overhead.
Sure.
And it sounded really fucking amazing. And then we tried that in the venue, and that's the thing we tweak. Like every show we do, that's one of the presets we go through. Like because it tends to be very feedbacky. If you,
okay.
So it really comes very. It's a very delicate thing.
Sure.
But if you work as a team, and if like our sound guy is really a band member basically, and we all want the same thing, we want to have the baddest sounding live experience we can possibly conjure up.
Yep.
And if this is part of it, and also working with the filters and with the delays and whatever, that really adds to the sort of live feel of something that's being made on stage at that very moment, instead of it being backing track.
Yep.
So that to us, that's really important. And I really liked, I like the fact that could potentially go wrong because that's live.
Sure.
You know, you can
happy accident. Yeah.
yeah, and to be honest, like it hasn't it's gone right most of the times, but like when I really started out using that stuff live, you know, I've learned a lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, that particular version was very distorted tonight, right?
Yeah. I've been, you know, I'm working on that for a long time. Yeah. It was exactly the way.
Right. So are you running all drum mics through this in a live setting? This or just a couple?
Yeah, just a couple, because you know you can get really crazy, but to be honest, like I found that for live, like a kick snare head, overhead, those 4 mics were the ones that really had the most effect if I would use those.
Sure. Okay.
I mean, I like the toms and like snare bottom really wasn't that much of a. I mean, if you do like a specifically tom infested part, then it might make sense.
Right.
But like a kick snare, hi-hat, and overhead, those 4 mics.
Okay.
And if you, especially now, like with the new MacBooks, but even like the one I still use that's 6 years old, it's fast enough. It's fast enough to have so little latency that it's not discernible for me, at least as a player. I think it's personal, but so you can run it through Ableton, and then you have to find out, you know, what effects can I actually put on this track before I start noticing any lag or latency.
Yes, right.
I mean, it's like you know, it can be a bit hit or miss, but also I mean, some of it is science, some of it is just, okay, let's try this.
Yeah.
Does it work? Oh, hell yeah, this works.
Yeah.
Use it.
The Sound Toy stuff is pretty light in processing, I find.
Yeah, some of it is, and like it really depends. Like some native plugins from Ableton, they sound amazing and they're like really, really low latency, and others, you know, especially with verbs, you have to really pay attention to not put too much of those in there. But yeah.
So you have a particular session. It's funny. This is so recording based, but we're talking about live performance. So it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
So
we can get to recording too, of course.
Yeah. I mean, it all ties together. So for a second, I thought you were drinking a beer, and I was like, "Fuck yes."
Yeah, dude. I wish I had one, but I forgot that I'm all sober here. I'm doing a podcast. Oh my god.
I feel like we should be sitting like somewhere in Holland having a beer, like talking about this shit, you know?
Oh, dude, you have no idea. Everything's been closed here for like now 3-4 weeks now. We're in lockdown still.
Oh boy. Yeah.
And all the bars have been. I mean, I don't even remember the last time I was in an actual proper bar. It's fucked up.
Things are not locked down here, but I'm in a personal lockdown anyway, so I feel you. Yeah.
So let's do so somewhere in 2025.
Sounds good. Right on. Okay, so do you have one particular Ableton session set up for the whole gig?
Yep.
And then with this, what's the box called again?
The MIDI controller? The MIDI Fighter Twister, it's called.
MIDI Fighter. But, okay, so you know which knobs to go to. Like, you know, one knob is the overhead with the devil lock. Another is the hi-hat with a delay or whatever. How do you map that?
Well, it's actually even simpler. There's like manual control. I use a couple of more. I can show you a picture because like my interface is there and I can't pick it up, but I have a picture of the stuff I use, the other controllers. But like here you can see, well, for instance, there's verb, delay. Yep. So this is the length of the verb.
Okay.
This freezes the verb.
Okay. And any mic can go to that channel, that plugin?
Yeah, specifically for this, I have any mic except the kick mic, because some of the, you know, because it's low and it gets a bit cloudy, especially if you verb it up.
Sure, yeah, especially in a big space, right?
Exactly. So mainly the effects, there are just sends that open up on the 3 other channels, so they will open up to a verb or a delay.
Okay.
If you put like a pitch shifter on a certain channel, you can also do that, for instance.
And how are you opening it? Just manually on Ableton, like a bypass?
Well, yeah, just you can enable to you can just assign any switch, any MIDI controller knob to opening a send. So it's just one push, it's open, one push is and then it's closed again.
Oh, I see. So on that knob, you push or
That's what you could do exactly. And also, I have a couple of pads, and I've kind of stopped using an SPD. I just have a couple of, they're called Bob pads. Keith McMillan makes them. They're like very lightweight. And you can even with those, because they're basically like a MIDI keyboard. So if you in that respect, it's not a piezo element. So you can if you hit it with a stick and you keep your stick on it, it keeps transmitting the MIDI note. So you can, like, if you hit your stick on it and you keep it there, then it keeps the send open. If you take your stick off again, it closes again.
It's
so that's
weird, man. I literally saw that on Instagram this morning, but maybe it was you, the bop pad thing, because I was like, "What is that thing? That's cool."
Oh yeah, could be. Yeah, I use them all the time because it's an amazing piece of kit because it's super thin. You can just throw it in any bag. And to be honest, I've been using them. I mean, I've had a little issue. Well, I've been using them like on tour for 4 years, and I've had the same two ones, and they're still holding up.
Oh wow!
They're just very well built. It's funny, like in their video, I think it's even on their website. It's like the most American thing ever. They drive a pickup over the things. This is so it's quality. Yeah.
The things that America's known for. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't disagree, but yeah, right. Well,
and just a last thing about the effects and stuff. I mean, what I found is that you have to. It's nice to have a lot of options, but also it's nice to make it as easy as possible in a live setting. So all of this stuff takes a bit of like brain CPU to prepare.
Of course.
But if you have like, I have one button for every song, one preset. If I push that button, then everything I need to have changes.
Okay, so that and hence that was my question. One session that scare the whole set. Gotcha.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. And that's, I mean, and to be honest, I've had some people they see the setup and they think, wow, it's so complex, and it is complex. But on the other hand, like I say, it's you just sit behind your kit as if you would normally. Yeah. You press this one button, and then a couple of things change. Sometimes I control something on the laptop of the other guy in the band, or maybe my kick mic sometimes mutes because like if I just play an electronic pedal, the kick, once it feedbacked or whatever, and our technician or our front of house guy was like, "Well, I don't have to mute it if you can automate it."
Oh wow!
That's stuff you could do, and like I said, you can go as crazy as you want.
Yeah.
And you can make it as easy as you want for yourself as well. I love the options. I just love it. I mean, I'm really looking forward to our next tour because there's going to be a lot of new songs to play and a lot of new stuff to figure out.
Yeah.
So it's going to be nice.
You guys tour throughout Europe?
Well, with Fink, we did a lot of Europe mainly. And with Weval, that's the band I was talking about. That's a lot of Europe as well. And we've played a lot in, we will probably play some Asian shows as well. We did a lot of Istanbul shows in Turkey and some US dates as well, but that's going to be a duo thing first. I'm hoping towards the end of the year or maybe the start of next year, we'll do like a little band tour there. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so with this rig, do you bring your kind of live rig back to your studio and use it similarly, like things that I see you do like online? Is this basically what you're doing?
More or less. My current rig is also sort of the heart of my studio rig, but it's a thing I'm going to change up because it's I'm doing so much studio stuff now. It's becoming a bit of a nuisance because my rig is basically my Apollo interface built into a rack with some MIDI controllers on top.
Okay.
And it's very portable, and I fly all over Europe with it.
Oh wow.
It's I mean, it's amazing. It's really sturdy.
So wait, your like rig that you use on all live shows, you fly with it?
Well, it depends. If it's this particular band, I mean, luckily there's still some bands I just count off and I sit behind a Pharaoh,
Okay. Yeah.
acoustic drums, and that's just it. But if there's electronics involved, I usually just, it's like one big Pally case and it
Wow.
has everything. Yeah.
Cool. Amazing.
Yeah. It's pretty bulletproof. Knock on, wood. This is wood.
Right. I got some wood over here. I got it.
Thank you very much.
Wow. Amazing, man. Okay. So when you record it in your space right here, and this is your house, your garage, your...
This is it's my studio space. It's actually it's a place like 20 minutes outside of Utrecht in the Netherlands, and it's a collective. So there's like 35 other producers, musicians, singers, whatever over here. Yeah, it's really nice.
Man, I would love a space like that, man, where you can take a 10-minute break and talk to some other musicians outside your door.
That's, to be honest, I mean, I used that my previous studio was a bit more secluded in the city. But that exactly what you just said is the thing that I really love. Like, I tend to get in like a sort of bubble, and if you step outside and you meet someone in the kitchen or outside, and there's like, oh, there's other human beings here doing the same thing. Yeah, this actually makes sense.
Right.
And then I get inspired again, But you have your studio. Your studio is, I think it's at your house or someplace else.
Yeah, my house is about 20 feet from me, and then this is the garage that I converted. Yeah, and it's incredibly convenient because I have my family life is like right there, and then I can just hop back and forth.
That's ideal. Yeah,
it's very awesome. And other times, you want to so.
I totally understand. Yeah,
I'm not sure there's a perfect union, but yeah.
It's always I don't know. I used to have my studio, like when I really started out with producing my own stuff, like a couple of years ago. I even had like literally the bedroom set up, and it also has some advantages. But I quite like that. I have to travel for a bit to get here. It really, I don't know. It's very serene. And you can't see it, but like I have a couple of windows here, and I just during the day I look out on this little field, and then sometimes there's some sheep or whatever. It's really nice.
That's amazing. That's really cool. Wow,
it's quite special. Yeah.
Okay. So you're recording into Pro Tools in your studio? I mean, sorry, Ableton. I meant to say.
Yeah. Well, it kind of depends. I used to do Pro Tools and Logic a lot, but to be honest, I've been so happy with and so fast with Ableton. Okay. And since the latest version, they have fixed the one big issue, which is take folders. Okay. So you can actually you have like playlists in Pro Tools. So they integrated that into Ableton, which makes it very easy to do 5 takes of something and make a comp if need be. Okay. So I mainly use Ableton, and there's a couple of friends of mine in Weval. They have like, allegedly there's a sort of sound difference, but it really comes down to mixing. Okay. There's a panning thing. Apparently that's different in Ableton from Logic or from Pro Tools. Yep. But just recording and then subsequently not even getting crazy, but being sort of, sometimes I just have a really fast idea and I just want to do something really fast. And with Ableton, that's just so incredibly easy. Yeah. It's like, I don't know, it just really gets me to my idea as fast as possible. And I love that. Okay. It's interesting to me because, years ago, I was using Pro Tools, Logic, and Ableton. Eventually I cut out Logic because my brain was scrambled with trying to remember on the key, what to do. I so understand. Yeah. And I was I've been biased a long time toward Pro Tools, just sonically compared to Ableton. I will say maybe it's time for me to kind of, reassess, because, what I'm hearing from you is that possibly it's improved or it's different, or maybe just skill wise, especially for me, maybe I know what I'm doing more than I did 10 years ago or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I'm, kind of working on my own sonic project. And it seems like for what I'm trying to do, going that route and just having those
options inside Ableton could be a super cool route.
Dude, I mean, especially you do like so much. You know, I have the idea that you do many records at your place, right?
Yes.
Or
yeah.
so possibly the majority of your recordings is in your space. So like there's a couple of things that Ableton just really nailed with, like, for instance, a thing as simple as an LFO plugin that you can just map to anything in the program.
Okay.
So say you have a I don't know, you have a plugin that has a function that's really cool.
Yep.
And you would have to you would like to sort of you just find yourself like using your mouse to tweak these things and just put it up randomly and put it down again, and just put an LFO with like a random waveform on that particular parameter, and it's done, and you create organic movement, and that's really easy to do, even with a plugin that doesn't have that function incorporated, because it can do it with any plugin that you load, like literally any plugin.
Right.
And that kind of freedom, I don't know, it's just, you have this idea and 19 out of 20 times you can immediately get that idea to work sonically. And then if you go into like a mixing situation, I've had like a good friend of mine, also an amazing drummer, Mark Schilders, he's called. He's also a producer, and he's really fond of this program called Luna. He works with UAD hardware, and I do as well. Mm-hmm. And I've mixed something in Luna, and I was like, yeah, this really does sound quite impressive. So there's, you know, on the you know, at the end of the road when it comes to mixing, then Ableton might not be the very best. Although I've also had some really good results. It's just you should totally try it, and not like for an hour, but try it a couple of times and see what you get. Yeah, right. I'm really curious at what you think of it.
Well, I think for me, you know, if I went down this road and I'm like I said, I'm inspired to check it out, I think it would be like a very personal thing. Mm-hmm. You know, and it wouldn't be like, hey, somebody sends me some tracks and I'm gonna switch over to Ableton and do it. I think it would be like, this is my experimentation. I'm gonna go down this rabbit hole for a while. And
of course, yeah. You know, but you know, that's,
and not put the pressure of like, you know, the commercial work into that environment, you know.
No, to be honest, that's not what I necessarily do. I even record, like, you know, I do some, you know, more commercial work as well. I guess we all do. That's just part of the dynamic of this type of job. But yeah, even just like old school tracking a pair of like you know, 60s Ludwigs or whatever, you can also do it in that program without any real hassle. But you know, having said that, Pro Tools has its you know, advantages as well. And also, if you've been using Pro Tools for a long time, I can understand you want to keep doing that. It's just comfort zone stuff. But
are you, so if you do something more commercial, but you do, maybe there's room in that project for some kind of you know, effects or kind of interesting sonic things. Are you rendering those sounds all into you know, what you're sending, or will you separate it somehow? Like, hey, this is an option of some cool shit that I did, but you don't have to use it. Are you doing that with Ableton, and how are you doing that if you are?
Well, if I do such a thing, and it happens quite often, I usually just it depends on how I get to the. Sometimes like a sound is really cool, or like a loop is really cool, and it turns out it's just a stereo track because it all kind of sort of convolves into this really cool sounding thing, and then there's no option to separate anything.
Okay.
And sometimes it's you know, it's if at all possible, I would at least keep the low and the high separated. So like kicks and high sounding whatever it is, I will send it on separate tracks.
Yep.
But also, you know, the thing is, like, sometimes or more often than not, a sound really gels quite well because you put, like, I don't know, I love this Studer 800 plugin. It's like a tape emulation, and if you crank it, if you put that like on the drum bus or on the beat drum bus or whatever, that's like the entire thing that makes it sound as crunchy as it does.
Right.
And then sometimes I'd be inclined to say, okay, here's the clean thing, here's the process thing, but I think the process thing sounds fine. So, you can use that, or obviously, sometimes
you give the option.
The option is there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Do you send a lot of like processed sounds, or do you usually just sound the clean stuff? That's what I always do, like usually, but
yeah, and I figured out a system with busing and things like that where I'm able to send them separately 9 times out of 10, and I'll specifically explain, hey, the reverb on the snare or the delay you're hearing or whatever. I'm going to send that to you, but you can also totally just get rid of it and make your own or not use it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But I want to try to give those options, because that's what's often. Otherwise, it's just like, oh, cool. There are some normal ass drums that.
Yeah, exactly.
that everyone else could do, except here's this other thing that I thought of. That's it's me. Yeah.
And that is the thing, I must say, I think I enjoy most. And funny enough, I mean, I've had things I record for Finn quite a lot, the singer in Fink, because Finn does a lot of production work besides Fink, and he's a bit I don't know, he can be a bit chaotic, and I am chaotic myself. So it happens that he's like, dude, can you just send me over a beat for this particular track I'm working on, but I need to I'm gone by 5, and I'm like, okay, so I have to leave in like literally 40 minutes, so what is it that you need? And he was like, yeah, it's needs to be a bit krung bin kind of sound, and he just sent me this one particular like reference track, and I was like, okay, I guess I could do this. I literally had like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So like the earlier that week, I've been trying to sort of do a krung bin type, like really sort of heavily super compact with like a transient designer, so like just make it as snappy and compact and soft as possible. So I ended up sending him, like, over this track he was producing, sending him like a stereo track, pretty heavily limited, pretty heavily processed. I thought it sounded really nice, and I didn't hear from him for a couple of days. I was like, dude, are you fine? He said, yeah, I just fucking chucked it in there. It's amazing. I was like, okay, yeah. So it's just a stereo track. Yeah, man, it's fine. Okay.
Right.
I mean, that also works. I mean, that's, it's an exception. Maybe he was just lazy. I don't know. But anyway.
Oh, it had probably had vibe, and like he said,
if it inspires, it's cool. I think.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. If it inspires, yeah. Man, I just listened to some of your solo stuff, like,
Oh, you did?
This morning.
Oh, amazing! Thanks, man.
Fucking great. It's really cool. I had no idea you were doing that. And first, are you writing the lyrics and everything too?
Yeah. That's the dogma is that I have to do everything myself.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's really great, man. So that's all Ableton, the plugins, the sounds, the keyboard sounds, everything. That's all Ableton, or what's happening?
Let me think. Yeah, I think probably most of it is all in the box. It's all plugins. Yeah, all soft synths, and I used to have one more dogma for my own little project, which was I didn't want to play drums because I found it quite difficult to think of drum parts for my own songs. So I've just have a couple of songs out. I mean, I'm not like a prolific artist or whatever, but for the last track, I actually played some drums. And the first two, I just programmed beats with. I like making beats with just random shit I have laying around and just tweaking it into something I think, this is a nice sound. Just the most random objects, basically.
Yeah, that was one of my questions, because. Well, one of them definitely had drums, but there were definitely like sampled sounds that it sounds like they were your sounds. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's the thing is you can. I don't really use Splice myself. I think I might like it if I do, but I I kind of like, and it's not very efficient, I think, but I kind of like the idea of having a blank slate whenever you start something. And even if that means recording a type of sound, again. But I kind of like, I don't know if it like needs to be a crunchy snare or like a clappy kind of thing. I just look around because I have like a lot of small percussion, but also things like, I don't know, like a paper cup or whatever. And that's what I always do also with other people I work with that come here to work on songs with me. If it's like a production thing, I like just making the thing in the room at that moment. Because it makes it more visceral, and it also, like I said, it would be more efficient to have like a huge sample bank. But it's cool to just make the sound on the spot, and that's what I usually do because it inspires, and also it's even the notion of it being like 1% different from the other sound we recorded last week, and the fact that it's for this particular song really makes it feel unique on that moment, So to me, that's quite sort of, it works.
I totally understand that. I do the exact same thing. It's like,
oh, really? Okay.
Well, sometimes for me, it's like it takes longer to look for the sample, because if you kind of know what the sound is, like the physical object, it takes longer to literally go through. Like, is that it? Well, that's close, but the attack is not quite right. Okay, there. Now the decay is not there, and you could tweak that. Blah blah blah. But in reality, if you kind of know what it might be physically or something in your room, and that drum or that paper cup has those particular properties already.
Yeah.
Then just throw a mic on it and do it, and it could be the same amount of time.
Exactly right. Yeah, and also there's the joy of having created something new again. Even if it's sort of the same thing.
Right.
I quite like that. Yeah.
Do you take the time to put those sounds into your own library anyway?
Well, that's
a whole nother step.
Yeah, there's many things in my life that I could be sorting out better.
I didn't mean to go down that hole, man. But it's cool.
No. That's just that wasn't as deep sounding as it might have. But no. All I'm saying, I'm just happy I have some drums on the shelf. That to me that feels like very, very organized. I
hear.
No, yeah. Actually, it's a thing I've been thinking about because, like in the first lockdown periods of COVID, I was inspired by a good friend of mine, Misha, who did he was like, oh fuck this, I'm just going to do another drum beat every day and put it up for grabs, and I did the same thing, but with some loops. So I made like a couple of videos of me just, because I didn't have anything else to do.
Yep.
So I've thought about putting those in like a sample pack, and a lot of people are doing that now. I might do it, or even like for my own reference, do it. But I don't know. It's just like I just said, I kind of like the inefficient way of going about it and create something new.
Yeah.
Whenever it needs to be there.
One thing I was just messing with was in my own thing was like recording, and then or like playing recording, and then taking the same kit, just hitting one shots of those, putting them in, affecting them a bit, but they're literally the same instruments but affected slightly differently, but then programming against it with the same instruments, and it created some pretty cool things that I kind of didn't expect. You know what I mean? Because you think, well, why would you use the same sample as you just played?
That's a good question, yeah.
But they come out differently because they are then sampled,
And then when you say slightly affected, you mean like pitched or like delayed or distorted or all sorts of things? Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah.
That's actually a good idea. I kind of do that sometimes by like... that's the thing Ableton does quite easy as well, because the algorithm for pitch shifting is very fast, and if you find the right algorithm, you have a couple of ones you can choose from, and they sound very good. It's just getting one mic. If you say you have like kick snare, overhead, and a room mic, and then when you take the room mic and transpose that an octave down, so it is, you can just hear it's like the same sound family, because like every transient is in the spot where it should be, or like every hit, but you can hear there's something sort of off, but also it adds like a shitload of vibe to it. It's just amazing.
Yeah, especially like a cymbal. Like you pitch a cymbal down an octave. Like
there you go. Yeah, there's
yeah.
things going on in the background, but like, and it really is. It's a different kind of glue than limiting or compressing or distorting would do. But it's also glue. I don't know. I kind of like that kind of thing as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
But actually, I'm gonna try that. There's actually a very good way of going about it, making some samples and screwing them up and reintroducing into the same in the same beat you took them from. Yeah.
Yeah. It's. I mean, whatever. It's just another.
Yeah.
It's another idea. Yeah.
One of 1,000. Yeah.
It's. I was looking through all this stuff this morning, and one of the things, it's funny that I had messaged you, like, I don't know, who knows, 6 months or a year ago. I was like, hey, what's that thing? And
oh yeah.
The funny thing is, so I was just looking at a couple videos this morning.
Yeah.
Same thing went into my head, and I was like, I wonder what that sound is. And then I was just looking through the comments, and I literally had written you, and I was like, what is that?
Oh, amazing.
But you said it was just sticks that you had like rolled up on a stand.
Yeah, I can get it.
Yeah. That's it.
It's not really rocket science. It's basically just like an L rod, and then kind of there's like, I think there's some foam in between. It really needs to sit in the right position, otherwise it doesn't sound like anything. But if you get it right, it kind of sort of a really high pitched clap.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I put like a delay on this, or like usually screwed it up. Yeah.
Hold it up to the camera really quick. Turn it sideways. Amazing. That's some janky ass shit. So you just sawed some sticks in half?
Yeah, basically that's what it is.
It's great.
Oh yeah, I remember. And then luckily this particular L rod has like a little hole right here, so the tie wrap can go through the little hole and keep the sticks in place, which is amazing. So otherwise they would be flying all over the place.
Right.
So it's relatively solid for a DIY crappy whatever it is.
I mean, it's a unique sound. It's a unique acoustic sound.
Yeah, it's the fun. Yeah, it is, and it's also. I mean, it's not. You can't apply it to every track, but it's just the thing is, if you put something like this in your setup, you'll just play it, and then something is just a little bit weirder than when you just play the rim of your snare drum or whatever.
Yeah.
Short acoustic sound you have in your kit.
Yeah, it definitely inspires a feeling or a vibe or something.
Yeah, and and even if you like use like hot rods or the like dem sticks, I have a couple of those, like really like they're like sort of thick. I don't even sure what it is, like bamboo or something. This American dude makes them. And if you play those, this thing with those, then you have like the added acoustic of the stick. It's just another source, and it makes you think of playing something just a tad bit different.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Options.
Yeah.
Many of them. Yeah.
Is this kind of a standard setup for you? The stereo Coles overhead that I see?
Yeah. It's I usually have them set up like this. I when I first got the Coles, I had them like sort of more over, like to the left and to the right.
Space pair.
Yeah, exactly. But this sort of XY, it's not even XY, it's more of a sort of close to each other overhead situation.
Right.
It's I'm not even sure if it's there used to be the exact same amount of distance from the snare.
Oh, okay.
But I think I've changed it out a bit too much. So yeah, but they usually are there. It's also useful for doing like quick percussion overdubs.
Yes.
And obviously if I record an EP or an album or a couple of songs, I check everything. If everything's in phase, if everything sounds cool. Yep. Especially, the distance to the snare, that's an important thing, but it works. And funny enough, this room, it's not huge, but it's actually pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to, step up studio wise eventually, but for now it's really perfect for what I do.
Are you competing sonically with other people in that space, or are you kind of, is that not an issue?
You mean if there's any bleed from other rooms?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is.
Okay.
There is. But it's funny because this wing of the building is the drummer's wing. So there's a couple of
that
of
sounds
louder
like a bad
people.
thing.
It does, yeah. Smells really bad too.
Right.
No, but it's manageable. The thing is, like, we're a bit of a collective, so everyone kind of does their own thing, but also has a lot of respect for each other. So, for instance, it's a funny thing. Like, I usually play quite softly. Sometimes I play a bit louder. I've really found that if there's a sort of slight rumble in the distance from some other drums, one would think, okay, that's completely undoable. I cannot record like this. But if you pay attention to the recording, like really close attention, sometimes if it's indiscernible that it might be something in the background, right, then it's usable. And I'm not saying I like having the drums of Bram, my colleague, on my tracks, but it's funny because if the whole collective vibe really, I don't know, I thought it couldn't be possible, but if you don't hear it, you don't hear it. That's just basically it. Even if you just limit it. Obviously, if you're singing and there's drums in the background, that's really fucked up. That kind of
an issue, yeah.
Yeah, and but people respect each other. It's like, tomorrow I'm gonna have a vocal session from 10 to 2. Could you please shut the fuck up? And they're like, I will.
Right.
So it's all cool.
So people still will do that in the Netherlands. They'll listen to each other and be respectful.
Well, there's one thing we as a people don't really do very well. That's listen to what anyone tells them. But over here we have a special breed. Yeah. Well, we're all musicians. We're all fucked anyway. So
right.
we're all on the same boat. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let's go back to your recording a little bit. Your tunes.
Yeah.
Do you find that I guess so? It sounds like you're writing for the song purposes because you say it's sometimes it's hard to find to write beats to your own songs, right? So you're thinking song wise, you're thinking like this is not my drummer brain. That's coming secondary.
Very much so, yeah. And to be honest, it's been quite it's been an interesting experience because I started playing drums when I was really, really young. Like I think I first played when I was 5, and I was in a band when I was 6. And not like all, just all fun, and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. But it's a thing I've been doing for a long time. So I've had this sort of thing with drums for my entire life, basically. And also, since I've been really making music myself, as in making songs and being involved with production. I'm producing like my first entire album now with this singer.
Oh, great.
It's funny how your sort of, like you say, your drummer brain gets a different seat in the vehicle. It's like I am content now sometimes with a beat that I played that is like extremely sparse, that I like 15 years ago, or like when I was like studying that time, I would have thought, yeah, but this is not interesting enough.
Right.
There needs to be more of you. How can people? There's only so you have like 3 minutes, and you have to let the world know that this is you playing this particular beat. And to be honest, I find it very sort of. It's like a weight I've shed in a certain respects. Like, this is what the song, it doesn't need anything. It just needs a light cymbal, or it just needs a very corny boom plop, boom boom plop, whatever. Then that's what it is. So that's the thing that really helped me. I don't know, like, be very happy with really, really playing what the song needs. It's a bit of a cliche, but
sure.
Yeah.
It's a cliche. It's a cliche because it's true.
That's it. Yeah, it must. How has that evolved for you? Like your drummer mind from, say, when you were like 18 towards where you are now?
Sure. I mean, I mean, I think it's similar. Yeah, I mean, yes. So it's fun. I'm trying to like think about my process. So yeah, I went to school and I studied jazz, and I was way into fusion, like way into it, you know. And I still listen to it actually, and I actually still practice that stuff. Like I'll listen to Vinny Colaiuta and I'll be like, God damn, I still want to be able to play somewhat like that. It's just that no one ever hears it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I also started, you know, I've probably told this story on the podcast before though, but like, so my first tour was in 1999, like kind of long tour, 9 months in a van with an artist. And I bought a guitar while I was on the road and started learning.
That's a long tour. Yeah.
And, frankly, by the end of that tour, I was kind of over playing drums. Like I had this kind of strange thing where I was like, I need a break, you know? And I spent 1.5 years trying to learn how to write lyrics, trying to learn how to sing, trying to learn how to write songs. And I had a Digio 2. It was my first recording thing. And there's like a 7-song EP that exists, you know, in zeros and ones.
In cyberspace, it's floating around.
Yeah. And that was it, man. It's not that it took that to turn my brain off from like playing ghost notes and things, but it definitely helped. It helped for me to like start to listen outside.
Yeah.
You know, and to dive into like Elvis Costello and try to dissect lyrically what's happening, and then try to do that. And he's like definitely the wrong guy to go to when you're trying to learn how to write lyrics, because it's like,
God,
it's like listening to Vinny Colaiuta and going like, oh, now I'm gonna play drums. It's like, no, right? But
exactly.
But
oh my God, yeah.
But you know, it's like, okay, listening to words, like what's meaning of the song, things like that, and like though I think that was just a really watershed time for me.
Yeah.
To think about think about personality inside simplicity.
Yeah.
Things like that. And it's never really changed for me. So I listen very differently. I definitely listen to drummy stuff, and I like, drummy stuff. I would say, 90% of my work is not that,
Yeah, exactly.
I like to have that facility in me, but man, I hardly ever use it outside of like literally fucking around in there,
Yeah, but you do need that facility though to I don't know, that's sort of the engine underneath.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's expression. It's like I want to be able to like, fake my Tony Williams shit or whatever. But
exactly.
I've also learned, somewhat through producers, somewhat through singers or whatever, like
yeah,
fucking do that. Okay.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic because sometimes there's definitely moments you must have those too where I mean there's pretty scarce, but where somebody says just let it rip, just go fucking nuts on this particular part, or we'll just do one more take and do whatever comes to mind. It just springs to mind that funny enough that the moment I met Finn, he was producing this record by a Dutch artist I still play with, and there was one take that ended up being the take on the record where he was like literally like that, just go fucking berserk, just and to me I was like, you can't put this on the record, man, it's just fucking
right.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
So that's like an extreme example, I guess, but but usually it's just that, like you say, you just have to everything that that goes out goes on underneath all the intricate playing, all the technicality. I think it really all bundles up into being able to play like a concise groove. It all should be there, but I love that, to be honest. I love the fact that that you're able to, I don't know, have like a beautiful song and just lay down a beat, and it's if you have some nice mics and some nice interface, some nice preamps, it's just there. Yeah. And then and you're happy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the moment where I'm not going to say anything. We're just going to reflect on what you just said.
I'm just speaking in cliches. I mean, but obviously, yeah, it's.
I think most drummers, at least that I know, the reason they play drums is because, like, the thing that attracted them initially was, there's something very energetic about playing drums. And those things that sometimes grab you early on, whether it's like David Garibaldi or, whatever, like whoever plays for like Dream Theater or something, or Neil Peart or something like that. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Those things draw you in, and that's why your brain, whatever happened to you and me when we were kids, we're like,
yeah, whatever went wrong.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think most drummers wake up, and go like, oh man, that guy that played like, that's why I want to play drums. Like,
no.
That's not usually the way it goes,
That is very true. There's some weird spark that starts it all, and it's usually, I don't know. Yeah, I was just thinking of what the first thing was. The only thing I'm just thinking about, like, it's two of my, like, I think biggest inspirations, Jim Keltner and Matt Chamberlain. They kind of managed to, and especially Jim Keltner, because he's like a master in like playing very little, and then he suddenly adds this sort of crazy little fill, and it's like proper crazy. It's like,
yeah,
what are you doing?
Yeah.
And he kind of gets away with putting that there because the rest is so, like, sturdy and concise and exactly what it should be. He kind of creates some leeway to sort of, take a really weird left and then get back on track. And to me, that's like the biggest inspiration ever.
Yeah.
Because and Matt Chamberlain does the same thing. He leaves intact exactly that what needs to be there, and there's some sound or some weird thing or a weird roll, or just switches something around where you think, holy shit, that's fucking amazing, and still it leaves the track is intact. Yeah, that's and that's basically what I just try to be like those guys and never succeed, and there you are.
I don't know, dude. I think I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. I think you got a pretty cool signature thing happening.
Yeah, that's amazing to hear, dude. I'm just trying to, I'm just fucking about, basically.
Yeah.
In a musical way, I try to.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, man, I hope that I actually hope that I get to hang with you over there at some point.
Oh, dude, that would be fucking amazing. Yeah.
If you make it here, great. But I'd actually, it's been a long time since I've been back to the Netherlands or Holland or Rotterdam or anything. So, and I love it over there. So I would.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see what happens in the coming, year.
Yeah. Last time I was there, actually, I'm spacing on the name of the club. Paradiso?
Yep. That's one of the most pretty venues we have. It's in Amsterdam. It's an old church.
Yeah, I was playing with Melissa Etheridge and we played there, and that was probably, 2012 or 13 or something.
Oh, that was the last time you were there?
Yeah, which is weird because there was a decade where I was in Europe, like,
all the time.
All the time, yeah.
Dude, like, so much has changed. Like, everyone's using smartphones and
yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but that's the way, like, touring works. The last 5 years I was on the road a lot. All of a sudden, also with Fink and a lot of shows abroad, and then the last 2 years not so much, but
right.
It's just, it kind of comes and goes in waves. It's such a weird way of going about life, but I'm still not bored of it. So.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, thank you for your time. It was really awesome to meet you, man. Yeah.
I wanted to say I'm honored you asked me for this. It's been amazing, talking to you. And you're a fucking legend, dude. So it's yeah, pleasure's all mine. I'm humbled. Thanks so much. Thanks so much,
man. You're inspiring to me, man. On the other end of this thing, man. So thank you.
yeah, totally likewise. And yeah, well, I'm gonna save a date in my agenda for that real life beer.
Right on, dude.
Yeah, man.
All right, Nicky.
Well, speak soon, and have a good day there, man.
All right, man. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
See ya.
Bye-bye.